Hi, my name is Stephanie Peterson, and I have been working at the intersection of marketing and operations with a focus on international for over 25 years. Going global is complex, right? It's not an overnight thing. It's not easy, and it does take some time and investment. But for most businesses, the opportunity far outweighs the effort and the challenges that you have to face to get there. Just like any entering any new market, or whether it's a geographic market or a new customer segment or launching a new product, you have to do your research and your due diligence first. I wouldn't advise anybody just sort of jumping in without really understanding kind of the competitive landscape and how to position yourself, really talking to customers or customer prospects in whatever countries you're targeting to understand how they might be different or similar to the customers you have in your home market. Doing that due diligence is, I think, an important first step in any kind of international expansion. There are ways to dip your toe. I mean, the great thing is with performance marketing and things like, there are ways to sort of test the waters before you enter a new market and make a full investment. And that should also be considered as part of this analysis. Like, how would we test this out in a few markets? Most mature businesses, over 50% of their revenue comes from outside of the US. And so I think the ones that are going global earlier are smart because they're, one, getting access to new markets, new customers, and additional revenue, but also they can establish a beachhead, right? In some cases, if you're selling something that's very unique or different, if you're first in a new market with that offering, you can, grab a lot of share and block other competitors who might be on your heels coming out of the US. So what I want to do is continue working with, usually businesses are like series C, maybe B or C, is when they start thinking about international. And oftentimes it'll come organically, meaning people overseas will start hearing about what they're doing and have an interest. And they're like, oh, wait, we have all these people calling us from these countries that want access. They want to subscribe. They want to buy this product. So that's one way to know it's time. But another is getting ahead of it and doing this research and really being very, I guess, surgical about how you want to approach international growth. It goes beyond marketing when you're thinking about going global. It's not just about how to position your brand or ads and localizing things. It really, touches product, it touches finance and accounting. I mean, basically, it touches even HR if you're going to hire overseas, it touches customer support if you're going to provide support in local languages or in different time zones, et cetera. So one of the big things people think about when they think about going global is localization, or what a lot of us are now calling transcreation, because it goes beyond just localizing the words. Transcreation is a more modern term. You're sort of customizing the whole experience, the visuals, everything. Localization and transcreation can get really complex. So for example, when I worked on Xbox and PC games, so some of the video games had not only text interaction going on and a text menu, but we also had audio. So the characters in the game had voices, and sometimes you could interact with them, or they give you commands about where to go and what to do. And so we were constantly having to build a business case for how far to go with localization, because as you can imagine, localizing audio can get really, really expensive, whereas localizing just translating text is a little bit less of a commitment. And so we had to go through every single game that we were building to really determine what level is appropriate given the opportunity in the market and the kind of revenue that we wouldn't want to overinvest in localization there. So obviously, from a marketing perspective, localization and transcreation is a really, really big deal. You've got all of your marketing materials, ads, website, blog. Social is always really complex, like social media. Like, do we want to create channels, separate handles for those markets, or do we want to post in multiple languages on the one handle we already have? I mean, it really depends on the business, but there's a ton of considerations there. And then, of course, you have to really understand the cultural nuance as especially as a marketer, because you're talking directly to your customers and you want to do that in a way that is meaningful, especially if you're in like more of a consumer business where you have a really strong personality or voice, and you're using a lot of colloquialisms, and you have sort of a brand personality that might not translate one-to-one. So that's really important. And then of course it goes beyond, it's like customer support. I mean, that's part of the customer experience that doesn't always fall underneath marketing, but that's really important too. How do you support your customers? After I left YouTube, I was a full-time employee there, but I went back as a consultant later. And when they were getting into subscription-based businesses, I did a project for them to look at how should they best support customers in a subscription-based business, because it was the first time that they were taking money from directly from consumers when they launched. They have a movie rental business. You can pay for YouTube Premium where you get, it's an ad-free experience, et cetera. And I went and did a bunch of research in a number of markets for them to understand what channels, like in some countries, you have got to have a phone number. You have to have an 800 number. But a lot of tech companies these days don't have phone. They just have online self-serve help or chat. And in some countries, that's not okay. So there's other areas of international beyond marketing, but these things do touch on marketing and touch on the customer experience. Another example is I've done a lot of work on kid or teen focused products globally, and every country has different regulations about how you can market to children. And even within the EU, there's different the countries within the EU, some of them have different rules and regulations about what PII or personal information you can collect from minors and how you can use that, et cetera. So there's a lot of legal and regulatory issues that you need to be aware of as well. At this point, I'm, looking to partner with other consultants. Like, for example, I just was introduced to an attorney based here in the US who focuses on helping international businesses figure out the legal and regulatory hurdles that they need to overcome. I have a couple of different localization and transcreation houses that I've worked with that do really, really great work overseas. So I'm in the process of building a referral network, really, of other consultants with different complementary skill sets who have international experience and are interested in this area and possibly interested in working together, because going global takes a village, right? I know that's kind of a cliche, but it's true. You often need one person managing everything and making sure that everything's working together, but we really do need specialists, and in some cases you get to a point where you're going to need people overseas. So I've been talking to other marketing professionals that I've worked with in different countries who have local market expertise and are they themselves from those markets. So any kind of partnership I'm open to at this point, or getting to a point where I'm referring business to other people. And then I'm also looking for companies that are at this point where they really want to go global and they're ready and they have a sense that there's an opportunity there and they're looking for help with that.